Good morning. Welcome to Up with KREM. Happy Thursday. It is 6 o'clock and happy Juneteenth as well. If you have the day off, thank you for joining us, even though you're not headed to work this morning. We want to get straight to our meteorologist, Thomas Patrick. Thomas, if people are enjoying a day off for Juneteenth, what's it look like?
Yeah, not actually too bad for today. The wind's a lot less, though this morning a shade cooler temperature-wise. If we had to pick out one thing that might be a slight inconvenience, it's that it definitely does feel quite a bit colder during these early morning hours, but that will be offset by the sunshine pretty easily in just a couple hours time. We're at 51 degrees currently. We do have a handful of locations that are in the 40s, and even Deer Park was as cold as 38 degrees this morning. So that could warrant a long sleeve shirt to get you started for the day. But the afternoon is still going to be partly cloudy and 77 degrees. So still a nice one for this final day of spring. But as we start the summer season, the weather is actually going to get quite a bit colder heading into the weekend. So we have that to cover in just a few minutes.
And a quick look at traffic this morning. I-90 right near downtown Spokane. We're starting to see some more cars on the road than we saw in the last hour, but still no traffic backups or anything like that. Again, today is Juneteenth. It is a holiday, so some people have that off. So if you are headed out the door, know things might be a little bit calmer today. We'll know more about that, though, as the morning continues and bring you updates every 30 minutes here on Up with KREM. An Ada County judge says the trial for Bryan Kohberger will likely happen as scheduled this summer. The University of Idaho murder suspect's defense team had asked for a delay because of the publicity and complexity of the case. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy listened in on yesterday's hearings and breaks it all down.
No ruling Wednesday as Bryan Kohberger's defense team asks for his August trial to be pushed back. But there was a strong hint how Judge Stephen Hippler may decide.
I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take place when it is scheduled for.
Lead defender Ann Taylor says the defense's request shouldn't come as a surprise.
We are not prepared to go to trial in this case. The discovery is vast and we have not had a chance to review it all.
One thing the defense wants to review is the defendant's life story. They want to interview extended family and gather more background to fight the death penalty if he's convicted.
And it's also imperative that his history be complete with educational records, medical records.
But prosecutors say the defense already has a complete history proven in its own expert reports.
No red flags that needed further investigation were noted. Nothing about those reports appeared to be incomplete.
Taylor argues recent evidence leaks need to be investigated. She says prejudice against her client will only get worse with a book and docuseries set to air just before jury selection.
At the very least, the moment we start attempting to select a jury in this case, those things are going to be on everybody's TV, everybody's social media feed.
Prosecutors say that's just an excuse to perpetually delay trial.
It puts us at the whim of the media. Every time there's a breaking story, every time there's a new book or a new documentary, are we going to continue the trial indefinitely?
Judge Hippler said he would issue a ruling on delaying trial soon. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
The motorcyclist who was hit during Sunday's carjackings, Richard Embry, died at the hospital yesterday. His daughter, Jordan, gave us the update, saying he died from cardiac arrest. We had just talked to Jordan the other day, and she said her dad had felt lucky to be alive. The Embry family sent out a statement. It said, quote, "He is out of pain now, and that is all we could ask for." Their GoFundMe is still online. They're now raising money for funeral expenses. We have a link to that page on our website, krem.com. Washington state troopers are now using data from cell phone apps to help crack down on speeding. The state bought data from navigation apps like Google Maps and Waze, and they're using the data to find spots where people speed most often. For the next 6 weeks, they'll be focusing on those spots. Here in town, it's the area from US 2 and I-90 to Spokane Valley. Over on the west side, they'll be focusing on I-5 from JBLM North to Auburn and I-5 around Everett as well. Just to be clear, WSP is not using any personal information with this.
They don't collect it like to look at a driver. They're collecting it to really build this huge database of information that comes directly real time.
And for the Traffic Safety Commission says Washington is one of the first states to use cell phone data like this. Heads up, the deadline to apply for Spokane City Council's open seat is tomorrow. Remember, Councilmember Lily Navarrete, who is in District Seat 2, announced her resignation last month. Her last day is June 30th. Applications for Navarrete's seat are on the City of Spokane's website, and again, they're due by 5 p.m. tomorrow. Well, it is a day rooted in resilience and delayed justice. Juneteenth honors the moment freedom finally reached all enslaved Black Americans. KREM 2's Tim Pham takes a look at the history behind the holiday and why it's a message that still matters today.
After 4 bloody years, the Union defeated the Confederacy to win the Civil War and abolish slavery in April 1865. There were nearly 4 million slaves in the U.S. at that time. Union armies began marching through the southern states, freeing thousands of slaves each day. The news took months to reach Texas, the westernmost state in the Confederacy. On June 19, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger and 2,000 Union troops rode into Galveston, Texas, and told slaves of their freedom. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. Granger's words spread through Texas all at once. Slaves found out the war was over and they were free. The joyous, spontaneous celebration gave birth to Juneteenth. Juneteenth, a combination of the words June and 19th, commemorates when the last enslaved people in the South were finally set free. Many slaves were met with violence or death when they tried to leave, yet the promise of freedom extinguished fear and fueled generations of indestructible people. Former slaves gathered on Juneteenth the next year and the year after that, and over the decades, Black communities observed the holiday with festive family gatherings, parades, and barbecues. Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday in 1980. Since then, all 50 states and Washington, D.C. also recognized Juneteenth as a holiday. In 2021, President Joe Biden signed the bill making June 19th a federal holiday in the United States. Juneteenth is a celebration of independence, the day all Americans were truly free.
If you're looking to celebrate Juneteenth, the holiday, of course, there are several options across the Inland Northwest. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is live at the MLK Center this morning. So Brandon, what are some events happening today?
Yeah, good morning, Nicole. Well, one of those options will be right here at the MLK Center. That's going to be taking place this weekend. So we'll talk about that in just a few moments. As for some of those happening today events, we'll start things off first with Grant Park. There's going to be a Juneteenth celebration. So from 12 to 4 p.m. today, hosted by the Inland Northwest Juneteenth Coalition. There's going to be food, live music, local vendors, and more. Later this evening, the Spokane NAACP will host a fireside chat with retired Seahawk and Super Bowl champion Cliff Averill. Free admission at the Gonzaga Hemmingson Ballroom from 6 to 8 p.m. And then one more event to note today. The Spokane Indians will have their King Carl Night to honor civil rights activist and boxing champion Carl Maxey. The special jerseys will be auctioned off and will benefit the Sandy Williams Fund. There's going to be a few more events we'll discuss throughout the morning. Coming up in the next half hour, we've got a list of other events happening this weekend, including the one mentioned here at the MLK Center. And then also we'll have some live interviews in the 7 o'clock hour with the MLK Center and the first ever Miss Juneteenth here in Spokane. So we've got lots of coverage throughout the morning. Stay with us. But for now, reporting live here in Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Kamiak Butte County Park in Whitman County officially reopened. It had closed for about a month so crews could put in a new water system. Even though the park is open, water is not quite up and running yet. So if you head over there, make sure to bring drinking water, and remember, restrooms will be closed. We are a little over 2 weeks away from the 4th of July. Washington State Parks says if you're celebrating at a park, make sure you do it responsibly. Last year, volunteers had to pick up more than 129,000 pounds of trash. They say that is the weight of 9 orca whales, just for some perspective there. Also, reminder, fireworks are illegal on all state park lands. If you set them off, you could get a ticket. Also, open container laws still apply. And keep in mind, even if it's hot outside, the water could still be cold.
This morning, it's feeling a little bit cooler overall with our temperatures down into the 50s and even 40s for parts of the area. In Deer Park, it was as low as 38 degrees, but with an hour of sunshine, you actually have already recovered at least back into the 40s. But check that out, Colville and Deer Park in the low 40s and then the Palouse in the upper 40s for current temperatures at the moment. You might need maybe a light jacket or long sleeve shirt early on this morning, but if you can get away without it, you won't need it for the afternoon with our high temperatures still in the mid 70s. So very much pleasant for now, but it continues to get colder and colder heading into the weekend. And that's what we'll be divulging into in my full forecast coming up.